he apparently has this crazy musical whistle talent.
And now I've put the microphone down my throat, just like,
It's a pleasure to have you on the show, dude. It's early there, right? In Australia?
It's early. It's like 8 a.m. I just had a coffee though, so I'm good, and my cat is doing a cat shit beside me, so that's really great.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Well.
The only other Australian guest I had on the show was actually Marcus from North Lane, and I remember it's like, I always forget because I do my show a bit later. I'm like, oh my god, that's really early for you guys. So apologies. Winston, my dude. So in terms of new bangers, again, we're going to be throwing on Parkway Drive in just a minute. But do you keep up to date with, like, I don't know, the metal scene and the crazy shit being released much, or have you kind of found, bands you really dig already and kind of just stick to that?
No. I try and stay up to date as well as I can. Like, I'm still massively interested by everything.
I love that.
Basically, like,
okay,
I don't know if it's cool. I'll check it out, and that goes for just video games, movies, music, art, whatever. So yeah, I've heard really good things about the new Machine Head album. Haven't listened to it yet, but that's cool. I just caught up on the new Lorna Shore EP. So yeah, that's been blowing my head off the last few days.
Dude, yeah, Will's a homie, man. He is. It's the level of like vocals that, again, but dudes like you all the way back then have inspired all these, like, the new age of like really heavy vocalists, and it's crazy.
I don't know if it's ever that I've ever been that extreme. Like, there's parts on that EP where I'm like, what the hell is that sound? It literally just sounds like, and now I've put the microphone down my throat and into my stomach, and this is the sound of me digesting dessert. Like, coming live from your small intestine.
Dude, it's wild, and like just the modern metal scene, and like what vocalists can do now, what guitarists can do now too. It's just,
yeah, man.
It's the battle of the noises is basically what I kind of call it. Just who can make the weirdest, craziest, lowest tune fucking noise. I remember listening like way back when, even just because I usually got into a lot of stuff through like singles first, weirdly enough, because I was always on YouTube, and that's when I started getting more into music. So I remember hearing Dark Days even, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Like, this is something so cool. And then I went back, like Boneyards and Carry On and all that stuff. And I was like, fuck, man, like this is my shit. Like, this is the stuff I love, because it was to me, that era was like the perfect blend of heaviness and melody, right? And it was just it's a beautiful era. So it's cool hearing again, tying to something like this, where it's like those influences, like you said, they're coming back again, man. Like, they're
yeah. What a time to be alive, man. Like, it's so weird. We've lived through, like, as a band, when we started, metalcore didn't even exist. It was like metallic hardcore, or something like that. And then the name metalcore came along like a couple of years after we'd even started, and then it blew up so big that it turned into people literally going, like, it was a bad thing. Like, if you were a metalcore band, they were like, ugh, you're basically just the new metal. That's just so crap. And we've been doing this for so long that it's come back around, and people are like, keep metalcore real. And I'm like, dude, didn't see this one coming. Like, we're all the way back to like the reinvention of this thing. And I'm like, it's sick, but it makes me feel both like happy and really old.
Right. Well, I mean, new metal must feel the same way though, because like even a few years now, it's the new metal resurgence. Like, even just before this, and it's like every band's going super hard with just everyone's doing Slipknot verses and Linkin Park verses and the huge Linkin Park choruses, and Limp Bizkit's now cool. When did that happen?
Who saw that one coming, man? That's the thing. Yeah. It's so strange. It's neat to see that it didn't, like, that this like type of music didn't fall completely out of the cycle though. Yeah. And wasn't just like one of those things where it just got like derided and then forgotten about, because like bands coming through at the moment are doing some really awesome stuff. And it's not just like there's like replication of something that was done previously, and then there's like, I guess, taking influence and homage to it, and also stepping it up another level. And I'm hearing plenty of that at the moment, so it's cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's cool to see bands do all this stuff and bring back those good influences, because then it also gets to tie nostalgia to it for a lot of people. Because even if even if the music sometimes for some of the new bands it's like okay, but you're like, oh, but it takes me back. It just makes it a little better, right? So
that's the thing. And like, if it's still giving something, there's no reason to let it go. Right. That's the thing. It's not like everything's just always played out. Like, man, you look at every other type of music, and that's the way it works. Like, if something's good, it comes back around.
Yes.
Same thing happens with fashion, with art, with everything. It always comes back around. It's just, man, I feel old now that it's coming back around again.
Nah, man. It's a fun time, and yeah, again, a lot of cool bands doing cool shit. So I want to throw on the Parkway Drive track, the new track. Again, I've been keeping up with the singles, and they've been super fun. Again, like I like how you guys have evolved, and I'm very much have even talked about just the metal scene, and even like the metalcore scene, and how sometimes the metalcore scene can be a little annoying with being like, where's the breakdowns, or where's this and where's this, because I get it, right? I've read our metalcore, right? I've been on Reddit, like it's it's kind of how it goes. But what I love about what you guys are doing, and even what I was saying in kind of my reactions, is that you are creating those big anthemic riffs that are catchy and have that big like festival feel almost. Like every single you guys have put out, I'm like, that will go harder than most of their catalog in front of those 50,000, 20,000 people, 10,000 people festivals. Like it's just how it will, because it's anthemic. It's easier to kind of catch the grooves. The riffs are still chunky as and your vocals, man, I gotta say, man, you're as brutal as ever. Like, damn, man, you're saying you're old? No, man, you're very young in spirit.
No, I'm young in body and spirit. It's just 8 a.m. in the morning tells me otherwise.
That will tell most metal musicians otherwise. 8 a.m. in the morning. Yes. So
no, we're trying to mix things up as well, man. Like to be honest, like this record, there's a fair bit of variety in this entire thing. Like this is the most, I'm going to say, expansive thing that we've put out,
right?
And we've deliberately put out a series of singles to kind of screw with people's expectations. Like,
whoa,
if
wait,
you haven't
what?
Figured that out,
okay,
yeah. If you haven't figured that out by this single, like we've known all along what the single rollout's going to be, and we've been able to go, this is going to be really interesting when people cop this, because there's stuff on this album that you kind of wouldn't expect from us. In a far bigger way than anything we've done before, and that goes for every instrument on there. And we're really stoked with it. It has been, like you said, like trying to capture that live feeling, that big feeling, because I mean they're the songs that resonate with us and that have stuck with us over a long time. Like man, we grew up like listening to the Black Album when it came out and watching like November Rain on TV. So like there's this mash of like really big iconic sounds with what we already do. It's not like we've left it behind.
Right.
There's some really brutal moments on this record, but then there's also things like you're going to hear where we're like, all right, Parkway ballad, let's do it.
Well, I think that variety is very healthy, and it's healthy not only for people listening, but it's so healthy for a band, because you guys need that. Like you guys, like any band will get just bored, no matter how much they love the music they're making. Like they need to adapt and try new things. But I love that sentiment you said of still having a little bit of everything, because I think that's something that's very important. And I know, especially in some scenes, it's always that thing. Even when I was younger, it's like, oh, a band slightly changes a little thing. It's like your attachment to the style of something doesn't, like a band is more than just a style you sometimes attach to them, right? It's like you listen, do you like it?
It's a really interesting one, because I know it in myself, like in the way that I listen. I know that my attachment to certain things, and I'll love a certain record by a band, and then I'll put out something new, and I'm like, even if it is better, or like it still doesn't hit the same spot that the old thing did, and it doesn't I think when I was younger, I used to especially just go, no, they've changed, I hate you now. but like at the end of the day, it's just music taste, and it's just like it's something that resonates with you, and it's time and place, and it's sound and everything. So for everyone that like has loved our old stuff and then doesn't click with newer stuff, I get it. That's cool. But at the same point in time, like we've been doing this for 20 years, and it's always been a journey about us as musicians. We just really hope that people get something out of it, because like when we're writing it and we're playing it, we're like, we enjoy doing it, and that's basically just the end. That's the only quality control we have, is just like, do you like playing it? Do you like listening to it? Do you like writing it? And if it just ticks all the boxes, you're like, okay, it's legit. And that's it.
That's so important. And again, like I said, I love how now you guys have a mixture of, sure, you got like the OG 2000s metalcore tracks that you can throw at any time because they're your big bangers, right? But now you can go to a festival, throw some of these songs on, which are still definitely huge bangers, right? And it's just like the crowd will erupt. They'll just be huge, and everyone will be moving the around, and you can mix those things in, and it capture this even bigger, more broad audience of just metalheads, right? Which I think
that's it, And we're hoping, like, the thing as well is like, we're at a really interesting point right now, and we didn't plan this at all, but well, obviously we didn't plan this, but Parkway is a big band, and
Yes.
over the years I've watched I've taken note of the amount of people who are like, hey, I never liked metal, I never liked heavy music, but my friend or my sister or my brother or whatever showed me your band, and then I came to a gig and now I love it, and I'm like, so we are legitimately a gateway band.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, the more people that get into this music, the better everything is, because like metal hasn't had its time in the sun for a long time. And that wasn't always the way. Like Metallica got to where they were because of pop culture being behind it as well.
Right.
And lo and behold, you get something like Stranger Things happening, and all of a sudden you see Master of Puppets like in the top.
What do you
of
mean,
charts
that
again,
small local band called Metallica?
But the thing that with those moments is like all of a sudden everyone on the planet is like, yeah, metal is cool.
Yeah.
And you need to take advantage of those moments in terms of recognizing what they are, and to be able to acknowledge the fact that there is a chance still to bring this back into a place that can bring more people into what we actually do. And we've been doing it for a long time in our own way, but it's very interesting that like this record, there's sounds on there which are so much more accessible to your friend or your granddad or whatever who's never heard metal in their life, and go, you'd probably appreciate this. And all of a sudden you get legitimacy. You don't get Metallica having to play the Grammys with Lady Gaga and having like Hetfield's mic turned off and stuff like that. You have like genuine appreciation for the art. So that's the thing. Yeah. It's not necessarily about just being big for the bigness' sake. Like there is, like, it's acknowledging the intent behind a pure art form.
Awesome. I love that. I want to listen to this. This is so this is wait, what the so Jeff's playing a riff, and he just has his plumber hanging out there doing his thing, and then he apparently has this crazy musical whistle talent that can help big bands write crazy bangers. How does this come about?
Yeah, so it's not actually him on the recording, but like the way this song started was myself and Ben like rocking up one day to jam, and Jeff's studio is like in his basement. So yeah, all the plumbing runs over the top of the basement and it leaks a bunch. And he was like, yo, I got this riff, and he played it through, and we're like, oh, that's sick. And then he played through the recording, and he's like, and I got my mate to whistle on it. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, check it out. And he played it and was like, sick. And we're like, who's the mate? And he's like, oh, it's the plumber who was around earlier. He was fixing that leak where it was all coming in and like blowing up the amps. So that's where it started. Like, the actual whistle we got at the start of it was a girl called Molly Lewis. And we literally, like, when we came to record, we're like, who can whistle? And we're like, no one's good enough at this. What do we do? And we're like, we're a pretty big band. Let's just type world's best whistler into Google, and that's how we found Molly.
I love that story. That is like one of my favorite. I sometimes ask like some origin stories of some of the songs. Should have asked it for this one. If I missed that one, I would have been sad. Because it's like that has to be the most intricate, intriguing, random story I've ever heard of like a birth of a song, and I think it's beautiful. That's just. Do you guys even know the plumbers? Is it like Zeke? Yeah, someone said like Zeke the plumber. Like, is it just the plumber?
Oh no, it's way more Australian than that. It's like a Davo. or a Billo or something. It's something with like an O at the end because it's really Australian. So. There we go. Devo, Billo, Macca.
All right, yeah. Well, okay, we're gonna keep it going. I'm my bad for pausing. Just like that's the most interesting thing I've heard literally all year. That's such a nice vibe, man. Again, it's very peaceful. It's a nice contrast from like the heavy, much more like riff focused other two singles that you guys threw out before this one, and it's again, like I can easily see that. That's probably going to be an easy throw into your set because it just adds such nice instant variety to your set.
Yeah, that's it. And that's something we always do with like when we come to writing music as well. We're a live band. Like we started playing before we started recording.
Right.
Like we started like that's, so everything in our brain is always like when you hear something different that you can throw into the live environment, you want to create it. And this has actually been something we've kind of been chasing for the last 3 albums, and we couldn't pull off. Like I wasn't able to sing well enough. We didn't really know how to put a composition like this together because like it's way slower than anything we've done before.
Right.
It's not revolving around like the adrenaline. So it was actually a real big challenge for us to put this together and go, yo, Parkway ballad.
Yeah.
Like those two words together have literally never existed. So
Right.
yeah, like I'm really excited to be able to put it into a set because it's a nice emotional song. It has that nice breakup feel that you'll be able to put in, have this grand feeling which builds from something small, but also like the whole thing. I'm like, Jeff, you go to the front right now. You play the guitar really well, and you got to be at the front of this thing for like the entire time, so people can go, yeah. I reckon like he's an underrated guitarist in this scene, man. He has so much soul, like just so much soul in the way he plays, and it really comes through in this. So I'm like, no, not one solo, no, more solos, and another solo.
I love that because I feel like, and I love both. You know, it's like picking between one of your two kids, right? It's like I love breakdowns too, but like I'm a guitarist, so I'm also like I love solos, and it's not that you can't have both in songs. You can, but it's also it's usually like, what do you do for the bridge? It's, well, you can either do a dropout, or you do the breakdown, or you do the guitar solo, right? So it's like, well, where are we going with here? Or like a chorus 2.0, right? So it's like, I love that guitar solo seems to be coming back, and like things you guys are doing too, like bringing that and keeping it consistent, and then it's still, you know, keeping breakdowns and all that stuff, but incorporating it and making it so solos are special. Because like a song like this, I love it. It's slower paced. That's such like, again, I keep referring to, I guess, like Pink Floyd, but that to me was like, heard that, I'm like, oh, I hear like Comfortably Numb, and I can like visualize like that live set of them doing Comfortably Numb and be like, that's sick as f***, right? Like that's sick.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's not like we could drop a massive drop in that thing. Like, there's no, and now here comes the breakdown. We've had the whistling and the soothing parts, and also just like throw it in. You're like, just like what you
can go. You know, just
oh, and then the whistle. Like, here comes Macca. Just break it down.
Okay, now you have to do. I haven't heard that before. A whistle breakdown. That would go hard.
Yeah, man. No panic chords. Like it would hit that really tight tone at the top. We'll see.
A whistle down, dude. Yes, please, God.
I'm taking metalcore to strange new places.
Bro, I mean, bands like Electric Callboy exist that like are doing such crazy things that's like nothing's weird anymore. That's what I love it. Everything's weird, so nothing is weird. Like that's what I feel like. So I'm like, yeah, like let's get some whistle core going, dude. Let's why not just throw it in there and see what.
It's a joyous time to be alive in regards to that, when people like take things seriously but are also brave enough to just like throw it out there.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes things fun. Like man, dude, the 2000s had bands like Primus coming through.
Yes.
And that's still connected. Like it's I think when you're in a safe space and everything's just completely safe and everyone's too scared to try something, that's when shit just gets boring.
Agreed. 100%. Yeah, I rather people get too weird, and then if they need to dial it a little bit back, than just everything being too basic, because then you just get bored, and then people get bored, and then everyone's searching for, well, what's happening, what's new, and then there's nothing. And it's like, well, that's everyone inspires everyone, and at the same time everyone can uninspire everyone if no one's doing anything. Right? So that's super important. And that's why just getting weird and having that freedom, and I think just having that authenticity too, just a band that wants to try things and have fun. And to pull it off, though, absolutely needing that confidence. Like, confidence is something I'm always like, that seeps through in music. Like, you can tell when a band goes from some crazy shit to something else, and they did it with that, like, smirk on their face in the studio going, like, that f***s. Yeah, it works. Like, you know what I mean? And when it's sometimes a bit more like, even they were kind of like, does this work? Maybe. And then it translate as well sometimes, right? So it's an interesting thing to have. Like it takes time to get that, or it takes like guts. Yes,
it takes guts to like back yourself hard out. But like metalheads have a bullshit detector, and that bullshit detector is set very high, and that's a good thing, because like you don't let just crap come on through. Like it does have to connect. But like when you're writing music, like it's you really do have to go, all right, like this has to be legit. Like it has to connect with you, and if it doesn't connect with you 100%, like it's not going to work. Like there's stuff in this record that we even got through pre-production, and like had fooled ourselves at one point into thinking something had connected.
Right.
And I went back and listened to a song like a couple of times, and I was like, no, this isn't right. This hasn't passed the detection standard in my brain.
Right.
So we got to go back and we got to redo this. Like we got to redo this track.
Right.
And once we did, we're like, you can't fool yourself. Like you can't fool yourself as much as you can at the time. And you're like, I'm so burnt out. I just want to break. Like 2 days later, back to work. Back to work. It's got to pass muster, man.
Yeah, got to make bangers, man. You got to make bangers, and that's something that's exciting. And I love seeing musicians that are so passionate and love what they do and love the music they're producing. And I think that's something that's contagious to the people listening, and something so important. I mean, even just having Rob on less than an hour ago, like that dude loves and I love it. It just makes me so happy seeing how much he loves the new album. I'm like, yay. Thank you. Like that. Yeah. That makes me love it even more. And I haven't even heard the full thing yet. Right?
Exactly, man. Exactly. Like it's the commitment to the art, because you want to be invested in their passion. That's the thing. Like when I listen to someone who's like, yeah, I think we made a couple of hits in there, and there was a couple like we tried something we didn't really know going for, and you're like, well, if you didn't know what you're going for, how the hell am I not going to know what you're going for? Like I'd rather like someone like be. It's weird because like it's walking that line of ego and confidence.
Yes.
Where you've got someone who's like, I'm the shit, this is amazing, and you put it on and you're like, you're not like the shit, you're just shit. Like you're high in your own supply there, man. But then there's people who are like, no, I know what I'm doing and I believe in it. And here's the reasons why. Like it makes me feel this, and you're like, okay, cool. I know what the intent is behind it. Yeah. And when you get the intent matched with the confidence, then you want to be taken on a journey. That's the thing. Yeah. It's it's a difficult thing to do, because you do have, again, that standard where you don't want to just come across as some egotistical prick.
Yes.
But at the same point in time, you want people to know that like they're in safe hands. Like there is a vision behind this. It's not just some commercial cash grab. Right. So. Yeah.
And even that, like, heavy is in now too, right? I think a lot of the metal scene forgets, like, it's weirdly cool to have heavy shit now, like, and I don't know where that came from. I'm not complaining, right? So it's like, yo, if you actually want to kind of get the cash grab real easy, just go make trying to copy paste Lorna Shore, right? Or like trying to copy paste like really extreme heavy stuff, and like get that, like that's what's going, and that stuff's hard to make too, right? It's hard to make, and no deathcore.
Hard to make, hard to execute. Yeah, exactly. Hard to mimic. It's awesome, because like that's the boundaries being pushed out, and they're the exciting times when that happens, and the like a wider population, it embraces an extremity of any kind. Yes. Like you saw it like a few years ago as well with Behemoth, when like the Satanist came out, and all of a sudden like album. Black metal was just like, and that expanded out again, and like the public conscious of it came in. They're the exciting times, because it's when people retreat to the safety that you get just like a third wave version of something which was safe in the first place. So yeah, it's awesome. Like when the heavy stuff, the challenging stuff comes out, like not only do you get like just blatant heaviness, but it opens the pathways to the weirder and the new sounds and stuff like that. Like new vocal techniques, new ways of using the guitar, different layers you're putting under there, like the things which normally would make someone go, I don't know. They're like,
I don't know. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna sit through it, and then once they do, it's in there. Like it's in like it's now part of the encyclopedia. Like Metallica. Like it's book number 8 in the like 128 volume series. Like you pull that one out, and you're like, and now it involves like sounding like you're snorting your own snot. Awesome.
Have you ever with the, I call it the snarl, have you ever with trying to do a snarl? That must be tough.
I literally only just tried it the other day because I was listening to Lorna Shore. I'm like, I gotta figure out how the this dude is doing this. Like, how's Will do this? That's inhale stuff for me. I've never tried before.
Right.
And like I even basically when like Suicide Silence came around, and like the first wave of deathcore stuff came around, like we were on tour with Mitch, and watching him do vocals every night. And this was like, I think it was like the cleansing had only just dropped, and I was like, wow. What is he doing? I can't do that.
I can't.
That looked really painful. I can't do that. And immediately I was just like, I was like, this has moved into a realm of heaviness, which is beyond what I actually want to do. I have a massive appreciation for it, but like, I'm like, that's just messed up. Like watching the dude destroy like his vocal cords every night, and then not being able to fit. I was like watching, analyzing him, going, is that in or out? Where's that? Like, is he singing out of an ear or something? It was so insane to watch. Right. And now you listen to like, it's interesting because I think it's come around a whole full circle again. And right. The reason I'm vibing so hard with Lorna Shore is like, I see and hear so much of like early Suicide Silence stuff in what they're doing. And like, it gives me a similar kind of vibe, but then it goes way further. Way further. So
it's very extreme, and vocals have gotten to a crazy extreme, which is fun. Yeah. But there's also more like on the internet. Like you can go on YouTube now and search, and it might not be the best tutorial, but like how do you do fry scream, false chord? How do you do all this? Stuff? Right. How do you do tunnel throat? How do you do the Alex Terrible, the Will Ramos thing? Right. Which is crazy.
It's so nuts for me, man, because like when it took me 10 years to even go and see someone and understand how I did what I did for 10 years. Like right. I never learned. I never had YouTube when I was growing up. Like we had tapes. Like Parkway's first demo was on a cassette tape. So the idea of YouTubing something, like I remember like the Zen of Screaming, like DVDs coming out, like in year 7 of the Parkway's existence, and I was like, whoa, someone knows this thing. This is wild. And now, people can dissect it and like actually explain it to you just with the click of a keypad. It's like, it's really awesome. And it really pushes things forward in that way. Yeah. But at the same time, you have people who have like, it's like athletics, man. You can watch someone run a 9-second 100 meters, but you ain't necessarily going to be able to do that.
Very true.
And I do, like, I know my passion and my limitations in terms of like, I'll try things, but at the same point in time, there's stuff where I'm just going to sit back and go, you good.
I'm chilling here, dude.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like, you do that thing. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to go, whoa.
Dude, I don't know, man. If on a Parkway Drive song you just throw down a snarl followed by like some tunnel throat, people would lose their shit.
Yeah,
just even for the shock value, right? Just of it.
We'll see, man. Like if and when we make another record, if something wild like that comes out, just keep in mind it's probably going to be like a 45-year-old going for it. That's
fine. People will lose their shit. Like it'll be that'll be a fucking moment, man.
It's never been about, for me, it's not about like trying to be like doing these super awesome melodic like poppy hooks or anything like that, or we never wanted to be Kill Switch, like where you've got like singers at the front that were like really good fucking singers. For me, it's more about finding different characters,
right,
and finding different ways to like throw just character into it. Like obviously, it's more like what I'm doing is more melodic now, but the other side of it, the screaming side, is kind of just, I mean, that's second nature to me, which is really nice. That's a nice part. Yeah,
that's good. Well, that's amazing, because again, it's definitely like it's almost like you have more power over the years, which is like, you know what I mean? Like you hear it translated, it's like, the earlier stuff you went hard, trust me, but it's like when it's like even the new stuff, it's like, damn, man, like you could tell the power and like you said, how to shift in all those gears, and then it's just like this little tinkering here and there, like, oh, just a little bit here, a little bit here. And it's just, there's so much fucking beef to your vocals.
Thanks, man.
Which is
it's that knowledge of knowing how to breathe and stuff. And honestly, like when we started playing, like 10 years ago is when the band fully started blowing up.
Right.
And that was when like the set times went from being like 45 minutes to 50 minutes to all of a sudden you got to play for an hour 15, and after an hour 15, like, and we're still on the Atlas cycle, like when everything was screaming,
right?
And I had no idea how to control my diaphragm or anything, and I just go nuts and I just lose pressure. And I didn't know how to get the volume or projection, so that's when I really started. I was like, all right, I got to know what I'm doing with this. But like it's and that translates to the record. Like I listened back to the earlier stuff and it sounds raw as hell, but like the first, like Killing with a Smile, when we recorded with Adam, I tracked one song and blew my voice out, and we had 3 weeks to do it, and I had to wait for like a week and a half for my voice to come back. And I literally tracked that entire album bar one song in a day and a half.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it's so dumb, dude. Like I listen back to it and I'm shocked that it sounds as decent as it does because I can remember literally I'll just be like, smash out a song, smash out a song. Like I can't even talk, and we're like, well, we still got like 10 songs to do. I was like, all right, let's go for another one. Like it was so insane that yeah, like it got better over the years, but there was still like there was that element of not quite knowing how to control what I was doing in the different environments.
Right.
Led me into situations where adrenaline would put you like
Yes.
you get too hyped at a show and you'd be like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, you start screaming at people, and then you'd walk out and be like, and my voice is screwed. Awesome. I don't know how I did it, but it's screwed.
Yeah, it's a very, you know, it takes a lot of thinking, keeping all the gears in check with vocals particularly, right? It's a very psychological instrument from what I've learned from it, right? And you have to be able to keep things under control and understand your stamina and your power of like, hey, this really cool part's coming up. Like, can I be jumping up and down for this? Or will that like, can I pull it off then? You know what I mean? It's like all these intricacies, but while you're still like, you're live, you want to have fun and do your thing and feel natural, but it's also like
breathing, like,
yeah,
it's a really hard one to explain to people who don't do it, because like essentially your instrument is at the mercy of like your mental state,
yes,
and where your body is at combined to do it. Because like if the adrenaline's running too much, like it changes your breath, it changes your heart rate, all of these things, and all of a sudden you're breathing when you're not supposed to, and you're thinking about the words when you like normally it's just second nature, and like things can go really sideways really quickly, and you've really got to it's hard to restrain yourself when you're playing live. Like I just want to be there and just kind of yeah all the time, but yeah, like just like yeah, but you can't, like because it's this really strange tightrope of like emotion and professionality that you've got to work, and like it's different than like a guitar or drums where they're just like, well, I'm just gonna hit it harder, but as long as like the note is there and the guitar is in tune, it's always going to be there. I'm like, if I just go wah, it's going to sound like a Sesame Street character.
I love that, dude. Yeah, well, I mean, it's like I said, your vocals are absolutely crazy. I know everyone in chat can attest to that too, man. It's crazy to see your guys' evolution over the years. That just be consistent, make cool, fun metal, crazy music, and even fun ballads like you guys threw out for this week. Like it's been great to see you guys evolve with that. Winston, my dude, I know I've kept you for a minute, so I'll let you go. But dude, I want to say a few things. First of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and waking up that early to come hang out and shoot the shit with everyone here in the community. I really appreciate it, and so does the community. Thank you for being.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Man. Oh, dude, of course, man. Thank you for being an awesome vocalist, awesome dude. And just I'm excited to see what Parkway Drive has with this new album. Again, guys, go check them out on tour. Show the boys the love, and dude, yeah, just thank you so much for taking time and shooting the shit with us on the interwebs tonight with us.
On the interwebs, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for doing what you do as well. It's awesome.
Thank you.
We need people like you doing it. We need the community like just as much as we need anything else, and it's always appreciated. Thank you so much, man.
Any last second words for the 800 people still hanging out with us tonight?
Oh, you're all amazing. Thanks for throwing up all the emojis. Thanks for educating me. Like, thanks for the good time. Seriously, this has been awesome. This has been so good. So yeah, dude, just appreciate it.
You're welcome back anytime. Just slide in the DMs. We'll figure some things out, man. I appreciate it. Congratulations on everything. Super stoked on the album, and I wish you guys the best of luck with everything. All right, man.
Peace, Nick.
Sweet peace.
Thanks,
so
guys.
That was chunky. I wrote hunky. I forgot the C, so I wrote that was hunky. That's nothing. That means nothing. I'm glad I did accidentally hit that one.